Hello friends, how are you doing today? My name is Sive and this is my booktube channel, Stories in Sive. Today's video is going to be the next up week 2 in Whateverthon. I am vlogging this month for the June readathon called Whatever You Want-a-thon, hosted by Maddie over at Book Browsing Blog, and I'm here to talk to you today about what books I am starting with. It is Monday, I've just got home from work. As you are seeing now, I went to work and I had a very classy lunch, and I was reading today Sarah Hogle's book, You Deserve Each Other, which is a romance. It is lovers to enemies to lovers trope. It's my first book ever in this trope and I'm loving it so much. I got to about 50% last week and brought it into the work week with me, and I'm probably 60% of the way through it. Yes, 62% of the way through this book. I feel like I could finish this like in the next day. It's just so easy and it's so light and fluffy, and it's definitely got some serious undertones, though. We follow our main character Nicholas and Naomi as they're engaged and they are really struggling in their marriage, potential marriage, their relationship right now, and they're just like going at each other's throat trying to get the other two back out of the wedding because whoever backs out first has to pay for it. It's such an interesting dynamic. I've really enjoyed reading from their perspectives. I really feel that Sarah Hogle did a good job of like framing Naomi in like a good light, and Nicholas was like the bad guy and he was the one who was inattentive and didn't care and didn't respect her and didn't care about her. And then as the narrative has gone on, you see how Naomi has contributed to the situation and she doesn't respect him and doesn't love him either. They're in a predicament and it's highly entertaining. I am very much enjoying myself. My other read right now is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, and this is the second book in the Red Rising series. If you're not familiar with this series, it's a very popular sci-fi series that follows our main character Darrow, and he is a Red. In this society, which classifies people basically socioeconomically by color, and it also contributes to what career they're good at and honestly like personality wise. Darrow was born a Red and is infiltrating the highest like level of people who are golds, and they run the society. They are the government, they are the politicians and the people in power creating laws and executing those laws. This has been a good series for me so far. It's testing the boundaries of like what I would typically pick up. This is a recommendation by my really good friend Matt, and the first quarter of this book just started off with an absolute bang, and I was definitely sucked right back into the series. It's June right now. I read the first book back in November of last year, so it's been over 6 months since I picked this up. I'm reading this via audiobook, and yeah, I'm liking it. I have a few tentative plans this week. My main goal right now is to read a book that's under 300 pages because that is going to complete my bingo. Submitting bingos gets you lots of points, and yeah, I want to do that. This is going to be my first bingo. I feel like I can make it happen. There are two options that I have in my brain, but this intro has been long enough, and I will see you in a bit. Hi guys, good evening. It's Tuesday, and as you just saw, I finished You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle, and I participated in some sprints, and I also am going to use this dedicated towards hybrid genre. When I picked this book up, it was purely like mood reading. I wanted to try this book, and yeah, I'm not really able to fit it into too many prompts, but that is okay because I have a plan. I put a poll up on my Instagram consisting of 2 books, and I wanted people to pick my next read. So the first book that I kind of offered up was Evershore by Brandon Sanderson, which is the first novella. This is part of the Skyward series, and I wanted to see if I could read this. And I pit that book against The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, which is a historical fiction novel about an apothecary that is run by women, and they deal in poisons on the side, only to be used against men. I started this audiobook a couple months ago and then kind of had a rain check about it. So I put it up on my Bookstagram and I got 5 votes for The Lost Apothecary and 0 votes for Evershort. So I went ahead and put it up on my personal Instagram account as well, and The Lost Apothecary just like won by a landslide, like no questions asked. So I will be picking up the audiobook for The Lost Apothecary next. That means one of two things. I can either switch completely over to the physical copy of Golden Sun, or begin to use all of my time that I would spend physically reading in the evening to actually listening with my headphones in. Likely what will happen is doing the former, because I'm really loving the audiobook and the narration. This narrator is great, and I've really just like gotten used to this format of listening to it via audiobook, and so I'll continue with it like that and then pick up The Last Apothecary. So, Golden Sun. There are definitely moments in this book that I don't really know what's going on. There are a number of characters and houses, and so it's just like this huge network of people. However, today during my lunch break, I was looking up the Red Rising like character map, character bank, and I was just reading. I was like, hey, like give me the briefest of all briefest. Like I don't want to know the end of their story. Obviously, Morningstar, the last book in this trilogy, has been out for some time. So I didn't want to spoil myself to the series, but I was able to gather a little bit of information that was helpful to me moving forward. Just having like a character map and something that you can reference back is very helpful. Not only do they have their own first names and last names, but they also, majority of them, especially those in combat or who are soldiers, have nicknames. And so they literally are being called, depending on who's talking to them, by 3 different names. A friend would call them by the nickname. An acquaintance would call them by their first name, and then somebody who is superior to them in rank would call them by their second name. So it just got kind of confusing, but other than that, plot-wise, this is great. I'm loving it so much. There's rebellion. There are like many different portions of rebellion. It's not quite as simple as here is side A versus side B. The politics in this book are very intricate, meaning that there are like, this is like a multifaceted, like dodecahedron of sides. Everybody's just facing off with everybody, which means allies are very sparse. And so allyship and trading off of allegiances is actually very common, and you're seeing a lot of like switching back and forth of who's offering who the best deal. It's very schemy, it's very plotting behind the scenes, and Darrow equally is like winging it and like flying by the seat of his pants, and also like he is an extremely smart tactician. Like he is very skilled in predicting other people. He reads people very well and like likes to think that he can basically read a room better than anyone else. I will say it is like a little bit going over my head sometimes, but I fully am along for the ride. I'm very, very much enjoying it. So let me throw the bingo board up here really quickly. This book is a host fave and will fulfill that prompt, as well as continuing a series. And lastly, the on a previous TBR prompt. This is a book that I've wanted to read for a while. I've always known that I will come back to this series, even though it's taken me 7 months and a verbal commitment to my friend Matt that I will finish this summer. For tonight, I'm doing some laundry. I've got some chores going on, and I'm gonna do some planning and some reading, and I'm settled in for the night. As you might have saw, we went to a buffet and got some dinner, and now we are back in for the evening. And yeah, I will talk to you later. Hi friends, it's Thursday. I haven't been reading, like, basically at all. I have probably got to 75% of Golden Sun in my audiobook, which is great, and I have big aspirations tomorrow to finish that before the 48-hour readathon starts. It starts on Friday and goes from Friday night all the way to Sunday night of this weekend, and I want to finish Golden Sun audiobook before then. And yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on. Not too much to update reading wise, and that's all we've got. So yeah, I'll see you later. I'm excited to close out this vlog with some very good news, and that is I finished Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. Again, this is the second book in the Red Rising series. I've talked about my thoughts and feelings in length around halfway through the book, and I'd just like to give you a final update now that I've finished it. This book kept me on my toes and continued to challenge me. I will say that these twists really got me. There was a lot of things that I really didn't see coming, and I believe that that added to my experience reading. My enjoyment was just through the roof, especially in that last quarter of the book. I will say this is the steepest cliffhanger I have ever found myself staring at the end of a book. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to work out, and my emotions towards Darrow and the Howlers and his group and Mustang are just like, I really just want them to be okay, and like honestly they're not doing great right now. I'm quite eager to pick up Morningstar, and again, I've pledged that I will finish this by this summer. This trilogy will be done. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. My enjoyment was really high, however, it's not a 5-star read because of my inability to basically track some of the political movements that were going on and happening. It was quite a complicated story. Again, I'm a novice in sci-fi. I've read less than 10 books in the genre throughout my life. Dystopian is not always my thing, but this book definitely was amazing. It was better than Red Rising to me. I gave Red Rising 3 stars, and this is a 4-star, so that means maybe Morningstar will be 5 stars. So just a brief wrap up, I read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle, which was hybrid genre for me. That is a romance contemporary book. And I also finished, obviously, Golden Sun, which checked off 3 different prompts as well as a non-reading prompt. So no bingos yet, but I am well on my way there, and the next book that I finish will definitely get me a bingo. I'm very excited about it, and thank you so much for joining me for this second week of vlogging for Whateverthon. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like other bookish content like this, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you. And other than that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.